For the past 2 years, Jocko Fuel has been the only supplement I've consumed. It's helped me stay in shape now that my competitive career is finished. If you've been waiting to try Jocko, the wait is over. Jocko has now teamed with Walmart, bringing clean fuel to the entire nation. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all the good stuff and none of the bad. And I'm talking no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. Jocko Fuel is now available in Walmart nationwide. Products available at your local Walmart are Jocko Malt, ready to drink, Jocko Malt powder, and Jocko pre-workout. How convenient. Guys, the time is now. Consider trying some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. You can even do it online. Use code CHAEL30 at JockoFuel.com or just stop by your local Walmart and get your hands on some Jocko ASAP. Don't wait, might not last. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Now there's no excuse for not having clean fuel. Guys, I want you to go get Jocko Fuel today at Walmart. Joaquim Buckley is taking on Ian Garry. Now, that is interesting for a lot of reasons. That is a great booking, and that took real courage by the UFC, by the way. They have a star in Ian Garry, and they're going to put his undefeated record, his handsome look, his ability to draw against a guy who is none of those things. But before you think I'm insulting Buckley, I'm not. This is an incredible opportunity from Buckley, and he can take all of those things. He can have all those things that I just said he doesn't have, because in this sport, you got all your chips in at all times. Whatever you have is on the table. But they don't overly love Buckley over there. Buckley isn't always pleasant to be around. He understands to make an egg. Make an omelet, you got to crack a few eggs. He's gone after Daniel Cormier, the beloved. I think he called Daniel a hoe, as a matter of fact. So, I mean, wow. What a difference a day can make with Buckley. If Buckley goes out and gets the jump on Ian Garry, oh, by the way, if he doesn't, I have a feeling the crowd is going to be on Ian Garry's side. And if anything I just said there sounded like I was insulting Buckley, I might have said it wrong. I kind of heard my own ears there too. It's not. It's just an incredible thing that I believe the crowd is going to want Buckley to lose. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Buckley just got a knockout over a guy who never gets hit. Oh, finding Wonder Boy would be such a pain in the ass. Oh, you can't find him. You can't find him. You might protect yourself. Maybe he'll stay away and he doesn't find you. You can't find him. Buckley found him. And Buckley can wrestle. And Buckley did not throw a wild shot that landed on Wonder Boy. He set that up. The form was there. Everything was tight. That's why the power was there. That's why he succeeded. Like, I'm just saying, I don't know that we fully understand how good Buckley is, but Ian Garry also showed us in his last fight that he's got another dimension. Ian Garry stayed on the ground in a dominant position for a meaningful amount of the fight. He had the crowd oohing and on that he might even be able to finish the fight with a submission hold. Like, it's one of those things, and I always get a kick out of that. I really do get a little bit of a thrill as a fan when I see a guy that I think I've got figured out, and it turns out that he's polished in an area that he never showed us. And I feel like both of these guys had their big coming out party for that. The word is now out on Buckley. Nobody's going to play with Buckley on his feet. And he's shown moments of brilliance, by the way. I'm not acting as though Buckley hasn't. He's shown to be a very dangerous guy. But you have to have a very high IQ. You have to have a very good comfortability and understanding of the sport to get to those positions successfully against Wonder Boy. So if you could do it to Wonder Boy, you could do it to Garry. There's my point. There, out with it. If he can do that to Wonder Boy, he can do it to Garry. And I don't question that Buckley can out-grapple Garry, but that doesn't mean I'm right. Gary's a son of a bitch to take down. When's the last time you've seen Garry taken down? Try never. That's the answer. That is your answer. When's the last time that you saw Garry really having to out-wrestle somebody? He was under attack. He was under pursuit from wrestling. He really had to defend it. You have seen that, but you've only seen that twice. And I bring that to you because Garry does something. Sean O'Malley's another guy much like Garry, that understands range, has the right footwork, and offers enough threats up the middle that guys don't close the distance and try to attack. He can just stop guys wrestling by the threat that he's offering. I've watched Sean. I've been trying to figure out what he's doing. What is he doing to keep everybody back? But Garry's that same way. And Garry does have a few tells. There are a few things within Garry's game that he will always do. Chuck Liddell had one. Chuck was a stud, is why I bring him up. Like, there's only a few guys ever that were actually the best in the world. You got a whole bunch of world champions. You got world champions right now that aren't the best, aren't even believed to be the best in the world. And I don't say that to be a jerk. I say that to celebrate the few who at a point in time proved, and the industry itself agreed with the fact that they were truly the best in the world. And Chuck is one of those guys. Chuck had his period of time. There wasn't a man out there he couldn't beat. So there was a professional wrestler named Mark Marrow. And Mark Marrow's gimmick in wrestling was that he was a boxer. He'd come out, he was a boxer. But the truth was, Mark Marrow was a boxer. And Mark Marrow was doing an interview on Chuck. Somebody asked him, do you think that you could beat Chuck? And they were basically saying, look, Chuck never wrestles. You don't know a lot about wrestling, but you got this striking background. He's got a striking background. Can you outstrike him? It was a silly question. It was a silly question to ask a guy. However, we didn't get a silly answer. We got a real answer, and it surprised everybody. And Mark Marrow said, yeah, I've actually studied Chuck a lot. I've thought about fighting him. And he came from a positive perspective. He came from Chuck is the man. But, I used to do some of this, so when I watch his tapes, I, of course, put myself in there. He never tried to say and get over and say he could beat Chuck. But he answered the question nonetheless. And he said Chuck will never throw a big shot without blinking first. And Chuck has a blink where he might have Tourette's. I don't know that he does, but he has that blink where it's a real strong and powerful one. Can you guys see me even through these glasses? Where it's a big, powerful blink. It's not just close your eyes. It's kind of a big one. And then he will throw it. But Mark Marrow is the one that told that to the world. And if that impacted the Rashad Evans and the Shogun Ruas and the Rich Franklins, I don't totally know. I can only tell you the timeline. Chuck knocked everybody's ass out that wasn't named Rampage Jackson. Mark Marrow comes out with an interview stating what Chuck's tell was, Chuck quit knocking guys out. And I'm telling you that because Ian Garry does have a couple of tells. Ian Garry is not able to get going. He's not able. Like if his coach held up the mitts and said, throw a 1-2, he couldn't just throw a 1-2. He can't. His body's not trained. He has to feint you first. He has to. Ian Garry might have the best feints in the sport. They're better than Alex Pierre's. Are you ready for that? Yes, they are. They're better than Jon Jones's. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Ian Garry's feints. Ian Garry does not throw air balls. He feints. He gets a brief reaction from you. He touches everything that he goes for. There's no wasted energy. I mean, Ian Garry is a freaking handful. He really is. But this is his second meaningful name opponent. MVP is a big name. And Buckley's got the skills. He showed it in his last one. It's a great booking, but it's a massive booking where the UFC, once again, the UFC has only got one brand promise. But son of a gun, they have stuck to it. I have to admit that about them. All sorts of people have marketing, and the UFC as a company, Dana White specifically, has stuck to one promise with you, the audience, which is the best will fight the best. Nobody's protected. And what's best for business is not what we do in this business. It's competition first. I will take any risk, but you will see the best against the best. And he has just stuck to that since 2001. This is a great example of that. I don't think you guys would have predicted this fight. There's one other thing that was a great tell. Buckley just fought not that long ago. Prior to that fight, Ian Garry claimed on social media to be signing a bout agreement. He didn't let us see the name, but he let us turn the pages, and either that was a ruse, which I'm all for, but you got to keep track of these things so down the road, you know whether you believe everything he says or if he's a bit of an entertainer. Either one's fine. It's a bit of a ruse. They changed his opponent. Or, third and highly improbable, Chael remembers it wrong.